Okay, all right, perfect. So, last section, we're going to be talking about your internships. So, you've done
Mm.
multiple internships based on your LinkedIn profile, which is quite impressive. So, first up, I would like to ask something that you have done in Stanford. So, could you share more details about your role as a bootcamp fellow at the Stanford ASES, and how has it prepared you for your own leadership roles? And could you expand on what the position entailed?
So ACES itself, it's as they market it, Stanford's premier entrepreneurial club. So, and they host a bootcamp fellowship every year where the undergrad students are a part of like the exec. So it could be sophomore, juniors, or seniors. They accept 40, around 40, 30 to 40 undergraduate students from freshmen to sophomores. And it's basically, I think, a 14-week program where we get paired up randomly with a team and we try creating a startup. And as we're building the startup, we're doing a lot of workshops, we're meeting a lot of VCs, and we're also working very closely with other VCs too at the same time to create and hone in on our pitch decks, to create and hone in on our startup ideas and our MVPs and whatnot. So being a bootcamp fellow was really cool because coming from a high school that wasn't really surrounded at all by startup culture or VC culture, and kind of being pushed and propelled into that, it was um, eye opening to see the amount of opportunities and the amount of money that was just being thrown around for ideas.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so if or when you guys do come to Stanford, I would definitely look into ACES and boot camp and maybe applying for that. As I can see, you guys are very entrepreneurial minded. I think it'll be a good way to kind of open up your minds to more opportunities, to more connections, and to create some lasting memories in college too.
okay. Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for that. And next question. What were your key takeaways from co owning and managing marketing for global strength? And could you expand on what this position entails as well?
Yeah, so Global Strength was a powerlifting gym back in Houston, where I'm from. And I was brought on as a kind of like a marketing specialist for the gym to kind of help increase revenue. But my biggest thing for that gym, and it failed. The reason why it failed is because of top level leadership. The leadership or the founder of the gym would be seen not cleaning up the gym, not being there at the gym, supervising, and like smoking in front of a gym. So I think my biggest thing is that no matter how hard you try, you also have to focus on the image that you put out as a CEO, as a founder. And your company is ultimately gonna take on the image that you put out there for yourself too. So carrying yourself in a very high manner and demeanor is very important to create a respectful or respected image in industry, but also creating a respectful image for your company. And for marketing, I found that you really have to know who your audience is to create the most effective marketing. You want to know who you're targeting. What is their life like? What is their expenditure like? What is their income like? Questions like that. Really creating a specific idea of who you're trying to pitch and sell to is really important, and that will drive how you create a more effective marketing strategy and campaigns for that.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay, that's quite interesting to hear. And from all these internship experiences, how have these experiences in specifics shaped your decision to focus on aerospace engineering as well as entrepreneurship?
I think with owning a gym, I also own a clothing brand. I had this nonprofit when I was in high school. A lot of the things that I really wanted was more technical challenges, I would say. And I think that's kind of what pushed me. Like doing a lot of like the clothing brand stuff is very stimulating creatively, but then I want to be able to think more intellectually with like how I want to solve specific problems and products that I'm putting out. So I think that's kind of what pushed me more towards aerospace, because ultimately I do want to have my own startup. Right now, I'm creating a research and development team for jet engines, and we've got a little bit of funding for that already. But that definitely pushed me towards that. But having like the global, like the gym, the clothing brand, and the nonprofit definitely taught me a lot of valuable lessons that for how to lead smaller teams at least. I know with my clothing brand, I started out too big. I wanted all of my friends to be a part of it. I wanted like six, seven people to be a part of my company quotation marks, um, to kind of build that out together. But I learned that if you have too many chefs in the kitchen, it's really hard to get anything done. So I also don't know what it's like for you guys, but you also want to make it clear if you're going to bring in other people to help you guys on your company, or if you guys already do, you guys should have clear ideas of who's the leader and who has the ultimate say. Because no matter what, everybody's going to have their own differing opinion, but all of that politics and all of that opinion is going to strain development and continuation of that idea. Is going to kind of slow down growth if you don't manage it correctly.
I see.
So I'll definitely think about that as young entrepreneurs like you guys.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. All right.
Hmm.
So, Wuchel, do you have any more questions?
I got just one more question for your
Yeah.
first answer. So I'm personally interested in like finance industry and also like
Hmm.
VC, like venture capital, as you mentioned before. So
Yeah.
you're mentioning about the ASES like club
Yeah.
there at
Ace.
Stanford. So basically, what I have understood from your answer is that you start a project and then you have an exposure with venture capital to discuss
Yeah.
more about it. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
that's
I
like how okay.
or what was your question? I'm sorry.
So I was like about to ask like how is the experience or process like at the ASCS club? Like you start a project and then
Yeah.
you network with venture capitalists. Is that how it
Yeah.
works?
Yeah, so I think for clubs, in general, it's really hard to kind of deepen anything depending on who your team is and who you are as a person. I personally didn't take that much advantage of the opportunity I was given with ACES, but I think Boosted Board actually came out from the ACES Bootcamp Fellowship. I don't know if you guys know what Boosted Board is, the electric skateboard. Yeah, so I mean, it's very possible that a real startup idea can come out of it, and that because you're working alongside these venture capitalists and
Okay.
you're constantly pitching and like working and honing
Wow.
with other students, you could create a real MVP that could become a real a product or a real company. So hearing that you're really interested in VCs, I also want to tell you that you should also not be too focused on joining the clubs at Stanford, and instead you should use your Stanford email to just email other people, email other like people in finance, or like I think you guys are doing really good for LinkedIn already. Just do what you're doing with me. Message other people that are focused on finances or finance majors and whatnot. They'll be more than welcome to like talk to you guys and like to teach you guys and to kind of like help you guys give advice for your company or for whatever projects that you guys are doing. Even for professors or for postdocs, grad students, I think it's also really cool for you guys to reach out to them too. And for VCs itself, I wouldn't be too scared to do that either. I've been reaching out to other like industry, like people in industry, and sometimes you get a message, sometimes you don't. So just send it out, and you never know. But I wouldn't wait to get to Stanford at least to kind of make those opportunities for yourself. I was telling this to my friends earlier that like I feel like some of my biggest successes, like having my own company in high school or having my own leading the propulsion department at Stanford, all came from not following the traditional way of doing things and kind of just paving my own path. And what you guys are already doing is paving your own path, but I want to encourage that you guys continue doing that. And just look for the opportunities yourself and create the opportunities yourself. You don't want to be the people that wait for opportunities to come your way, because then you just become like everybody else. And if you want to be competitive, if you want to be the best, then you have to find ways to differentiate yourself.
Wow, that's very great words. So thank you so much for your insightful answers for today's interview. And once again, thank you so much for your time and we will wish you the best luck in the next
Yeah, of
interview ahead.
course. And before we end it, like I'm more than willing to answer any more questions because I honestly